and still be elected Commander-in-Chief for these United States. That man is beholden to Putin, weakened NATO the last time around, and is currently tying himself to wealthy Saudi oil money. He enriched himself when government stated his properties. He campaigned on wanting to use government to go after his political rivals and wants to expand executive power. If Donald Trump is reelected, our nation is lost. So let's roll up our sleeves, get to work, and tell the MAGA folks no more before it's too late. Dan Zimmerman coming at you from New Orleans, Louisiana. Blog Talk Radio has crapped the bed again, so unfortunately we are not going to be able to have a phone number today, and so we will just be doing chat within the chat. I still haven't set up exactly which, or the Google Voice number that I want to use as a backup for this. So we're going to set that up at some point, so maybe we don't have to be determined or stuck and have to continue to use Blog Talk Radio for phone calls. Hopefully I'll still do it a couple times so that, the people who do call in regularly, like Khalil, don't get lost in the shuffle. However, unfortunately tonight will not be a night with Liberal Dan Radio on the air on Blog Talk Radio, but it will be live here on liberaldanradio.com and twitch.tv/liberaldanradio as well. So if you want to support the show, you can support the show by liking videos, subscribing to the channel, comment on existing videos, share the live, tell people to hop on in. You can be a Liberal Danimal for less than $2 a month, or whatever, if there's sales tax. I don't know how that works. I think there is some sales tax, whatever. But less than $2 a month for the Liberal Danimal membership or subscription or whatever on YouTube. You can Twitch for free with Amazon Prime. Doesn't cost you anything. Or you can, I think it's $5.99 for the base subscription. There's Buy Me a Cider. Go to liberaldan.com, click the Buy Me a Cider button, or go to buymecoffee.com/liberaldanradio, and it'll get you there as well. Venmo at liberaldan on Venmo. Friends and family, because you're not buying anything from me. Patreon.com/liberaldan or patreon.liberaldan.com. Either way will get you there. What else? I'm sure I've forgotten something. I don't currently have a game sponsorship up, so we're not going to talk about those today. I don't know if I'm going to start that until after our upcoming Disney trip. So this kind of fell in our lap. We have annual passes, and we were looking for a time to go to Disney. But of course, with all of the costs that have been incurred in my life in general, with all that's happened with that, getting a hotel room or Airbnb or something near Disney World was going to be cost prohibitive, plus boarding the dog again, plus every other cost that come with it. I was like, ugh. But we would have probably wanted to go the first full week of August, because that's right before the kids have to go back to school, despite the fact that it's ridiculously hot in Florida at the time. Maybe I'll drop 20 pounds just from the sweat, who knows. But a friend of ours is like, hey, we have a wedding to go to in another state, and before we go to a dog sitting service, does any of you want to have a free house to use for the week of August 4th to 11th, so that you can, you can stay here. It's not going to cost you anything. Just walk our dog twice a day and feed and water and everything. And I'm like, what's the luck? how does that happen? So, um, probably won't. I might have to have shorts that I post that week or something. I probably won't have a show that week either. But wait, let me play it, because even though I don't have, did it not come through? I don't know. We'll see. Let's try it again. I don't know. It doesn't seem to want to come through. I thought I had my soundboard set up. Maybe I'll have to fix it in properties, because no, it's there. Oh, did you hear it? Did you hear it, Dakota Dave? Because I didn't hear it. Oh, the volume is low on it. That's kind of, oh, I don't know. It looks like it's, there we go. We can increase the volume that way. Anywho. So it could be interesting. Wait, hold on. Let me. I think I've missed something here. Dakota Dave, there's pirates at Disney. True, yes. So whose volume is low? Is it just Dawn, you? Is it just you, or is anybody else having a low volume issue? Because it looks like my mic's coming in fine. Oh, let me check my settings here. It could also be this. This might have also been shifted down, because, my laptop hates me, but I don't quite yet. Oh, look at that. That's output. There's input. That should increase it a little bit. There we go. The volume should be a little bit better now. Let me know if it goes down again, and I'll fix it again. Because, for some reason, the laptop is like, we know better than you as to how you want your volume. So, anyway. Thank you, Donald. If it played through, I'm assuming it played through because somebody put in it is what it is. But for some reason, I'm not seeing the stuff coming through here. So I don't know. So we got a lot of stuff. You just want to go on one cruise and not have the world blow up while you're away. I'm sitting there in the cruise ship. One day I see Dr. Ruth dies. And then I'm sitting there. We're packing up our bags for them to take it on Saturday night. And all of a sudden I'm sitting there and I look up and Richard Simmons is dead. I'm like, what the hell? And then I look up again and they say something about a shooting at a Trump rally. And I'm like, what? What the hell is going on in the world now that I've decided to take a cruise? And I'm sitting there like, oh, I would so love to go live right now just to talk about this whatever that is going on. Because I had completely different plans for this show today. I had completely different plans of what I wanted to talk about. Now, I'll give it a little bit of a hint, because we'll probably, unless more crazy stuff happens, and my throat's a little sore from too much karaoke, so I don't know if I end a little early today. I hope you understand. I did karaoke like every night, and on the last night, my wife said it did the best. So who knows? Maybe the good raspy voice helped, kind of like Phoebe when she was sick on Friends. But I do have lots of fluids with me, some juice, some water. So we'll see. We'll see how we go. We'll see how we do when it comes to this one. Oh, but we got so much to go over. And then I think, and then I get up this morning and you have Judge Cannon doing her BS. You have the GOP convention day. Everything's just falling on top of each other. What songs, Don asked? Let's see. Friday, I did, or Saturday. Was it Saturday? Saturday, I ended up doing Every Rose Has Its Thorn and The Doors' Roadhouse Blues. I did my standard What a Wonderful World, although for some reason Carnival removed the karaoke contest, so I now had no ability to try and test What a Wonderful World against the other people. I don't know why they canceled karaoke contests. We'll have to see about that. Might have to ask, because I know there are several people who were disappointed at that idea. I did You'll Be Back. I did the real version of You'll Be Back. I had wanted to do it, but when I tried to put it in, and they actually had it in the system, because it's a new system, somebody else had already requested it. And I was like, what? somebody else requested it. What's going on? And then I'm like, all right, I guess I won't sing it today. And then all of a sudden that person comes up, name comes up and goes, hey, are you here? And they're about to, I'm like, well, since I wanted to do that song, but it was already picked, can I swap my song with that one? And he was like, well, why don't you just come up and sing the song now? And I'm like, okay. So I came up and sang the song then. But here's one of the things that I've always wanted to ask Weird Al this question, which is, when you write a parody and a regular song, the regular song that you parodied comes on the radio, can you sing along with the regular song, or does your mind automatically put you into parody mode? Like, is there a point where you just can't not sing the parody, even though you know you want to sing the regular song? Because I would love to ask him that question. I don't know if he's ever answered that question before, but if nobody has ever asked him that question, I would love to ask him that question. So I start singing "You'll Be Back," and I get to the point where the king is singing, where the king starts singing his song. Part of a song was like, and I'll send a fully armed battalion to remind you of my love. And I was about to start singing, so subscribe, don't be late, and you'll hear me on Blog Talk Radio Wednesday nights at 8, which is the song lyrics to my parody. So I almost started singing my parody as I'm looking at the real words in front of me. So it was very weird that I started singing my own parody that I made. So, You'll Be Back is in Hamilton. Jonathan Groff is the one who plays King George, and at least the one you see on Disney. And so that's kind of the one that I sort of mimic or whatever when I'm trying to do karaoke. When I try to do that song karaoke, it usually gets a lot of cheers because you have to hit that falsetto. And I hit the falsetto. If you can hear that in my parodies, I have a parodies playlist, and it's in there, and you can find that and hear me hitting that note in the full version, because I have a shorter version and a longer version. So, excuse me. What else? When I did karaoke on my anniversary, I did one of Maya and Cassie's song, which is Goo Goo Dolls' I'll Stay With You. And then later on that night, I sang This Is Your Song from Elton John. What else? I'm blanking on a bunch of the songs that I did. I did Rio by Duran Duran. Which the Rio versions in karaoke are kind of weird because, like at the end of Rio, Duran Duran goes do 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 do, but you don't have that. Like, the song is ending at that point, but I shove it in there anyway. Yes, Goo Goo Dolls from Buffalo. It's my wife's favorite band, so and that's kind of our song of Goo Goo Dolls songs. So I sung that. I'm trying to remember what else I sang. I was like at least 2 songs a night, all 7 nights, so 14 different songs. Typically all from like I think I did Hello by Lionel Richie. If another one pops in my head, I'll just randomly say it. So, it is what it is. Sorry, let's see if Donald plays it. I'm not hearing it, so if y'all are hearing it, cool, but I'm not hearing it when I hit the button. So, hey, Dean Baker, what's going on? I mean, if you've been absent for a minute, I've been gone for a week on a cruise, and I started an hour late today, so you're good. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, I did the Humpty Dance. The look on some of the people's faces when I was doing the Humpty Dance was amusing, just to say the least. Anyway. So, I have a couple videos that I'm going to be recording as I'm doing the show. So obviously, remember, if I hear, do you agree, disagree, like and subscribe below, whatever, have a good day. When it sounds like I'm ending the video, just again, remember that I'm just doing a video. I'm just recording it live so I can just have an easier time to upload it later. But first and foremost, let's go ahead and just say hey to everybody in the chat. Aaron and Joe Lee are here. Mandy's Candy, Dakota Dave, Jeff Curry, Dawn. Hey, Kerosene Kara, good to see you. Thank you for coming along. Ichabod, Kimchi, Jason, Steve. Thank you, Steve. I'm sorry for starting late. I just had legal documents to sign tonight. Jeff Curry, my daughter said she had a cinnamon brown sugar espresso. I said, weird, same name of the prostitute I met over the weekend. Hilarious. What's up, David? Let's see. Jumping in. I might have even said, hey, it's too late to Steve. Andrea, what's going on? Anyway. Oh, and one other thing I want to say. We found one bar on the Carnival cruise ships called the Alchemy Bar. That's pretty much where we were planted almost half the time, especially when we were using our drink packages up, because their drinks were good. So we took this class on like how to make your own martinis or whatever, and different sort of drinks. So they teach you how to make some drinks. You help with making the first few, and then you take a sample or whatever. And then the last thing we got to do was, hey, Easy E, what's going on? Hey, Robin. The last thing we got to do was design our own drink or make whatever it is that we wanted to do. It was just limited to 3 shots. I'm like, okay. But earlier in the demonstration, we were seeing all the different types of rums and vodkas and gins they had back there, and whiskeys, scotch, whatever. And so they whipped out this cinnamon-infused rum. And I was like, ooh, that sounds good. How could I make that into something? So then they brought out this like caramel bourbon or caramel whiskey or something that smelled delicious. And then I'm sitting there like, okay, let's go with this. And so I made a drink called like the caramel French toast or something like that. Strawberry caramel French toast or whatever. And so it was equal parts of the cinnamon rum, the caramel scotch, and creme de menthe, not creme de menthe, I'm sorry, Bailey's Irish cream. You had to put Irish cream, it kind of make it creamy to kind of add the milkiness that would come with a French toast. And then you had scotch or whiskey, so then you had that. It's coming at you at a grain aspect. And then the cinnamon for the cinnamon in the French toast with the rum. And then I added brown sugar, like they had simple syrup, but it was like brown sugar simple syrup, and then added some strawberry to it and made it kind of a strawberry caramel French toast, and mixed it all up, poured it all out into the glass, and it was frickin' delicious. Like the bartenders like took little spoons and did their little sample or whatever, and they were like, that's really good. So I came up with a good drink on the fly. Wait, Amber Rose, like of celebrity frame, Amber Rose is speaking at the RNC? That would be funny. We have the better Amber Rose Petrovich on our show. Haha. So anyway, so just as a reminder, if I'm doing a recording a video and it sounds like I'm ending the show early, I'm not. Just, just letting you know that I'll be doing a couple of live recordings of things today as we're live. But so CBS is already bad under control of mega billionaire Allison, CBS News director, quit last week. Wow. Yeah, I can already tell that my voice is already starting to get a little raspy. You have to be a little deeper or whatever. So we'll be drinking some. And again, yeah, I don't know if I have the lozenges up here or not, which is unfortunate. We have a bunch. because we have a Costco membership. We do have a bunch, but as I'm talking and sort of looking, I'm not seeing. So, easy, yeah, exactly. A black person voting for Trump is like a chicken supporting Colonel Sanders. Hell, anybody voting for Trump, though, at this point is like it. Because at what point do you realize how bad it is? There are several things, the way that we'll realize how bad it is. But before we talk about Trump and the shooting and the ruling and all the other stuff that took place over the weekend, I didn't even catch a cold. It's just my voice is sore from the karaoke, I believe. I believe that's what this is currently. It hasn't spread yet to anything beyond just sore throat. We'll see. Usually when I'm sick off of a cruise ship, I'm sick immediately and done. So it's not really nasal though. I'm not. I can breathe through my nose easily. It's just the sore throat. So let's go cruising. Cough, cough, cough. Yeah, that's the drawback of, I guess, of being together on a cruise ship with a bunch of people on a petri dish. So yes, you shouldn't be watching CBS. You should be watching Liberal Dan Radio. Talk from the left. That's right. Tell your friends. So anyway, let's go ahead and start the first video before I get overly, strained and have to stop the show early. Even though I already stopped it late. Or started it late, I should say. So the show tonight was originally going to be, there was something that was released on the news, I think it was Friday, that you had a dozen or dozens of lawmakers and they wanted to call on Biden to step down from the election. And so we're probably going to address those people, assuming they still put out their letter. We're going to address those people on Wednesday. We're going to go one by one over their names, and we're going to comment on them one by one as to see how hypocritical or how stupid they're being, or what they're really doing with this statement out there. Anyway, but let's go ahead and talk about what I want to talk about with them, because this will be the prequel to the preview to Wednesday's show early, just because there is definitely more to talk about when it comes to this. Anyway, so if you feel that Biden can't do the job next year, and I'm talking to all those Congress people who want to sign a little letter that say Biden should drop out of the election. Okay, so but if you feel that if the reason you're asking Biden to drop out of the election is because of some cognitive issues, whatever it is that you feel, and why do you, is it, if you can't do the job, excuse me, I just stumbled over myself. If you think that he's too old for the job next year in 2025, if you think, isn't he close enough to the same age? If what he's doing now makes you think that shouldn't be president in 2025, if that's why you're thinking this, then instead of calling on him to step down in the election, if you think he's cognitively that bad, and I'm not saying that he is, I'm just saying if you, as a Democratic congressional representative, believe that President Joe Biden is that bad off from whatever metric you're using, debate performance or whatever, why are you saying he should only drop out of the election? If his cognitive abilities impair his function to act as president, and you're using that as a reason for him to drop out, shouldn't you then be just instead saying, hey, President Biden, you should resign now, let Vice President Harris take over in your place so that she could run as the incumbent? But these people aren't doing that. These people who are Democratic elected politicians are only asking him to drop out of the race. They're not asking him to resign now. But again, if he's so bad that y'all are trying to claim that he is, and that he can't function as president next year, based off of what you're seeing now, you should be saying for him to step down now and let Vice President Harris take the job. But if you're unwilling to do that, if you're not willing to go from Biden has some issues or abilities and he shouldn't run, if you're unable to say, oh, well, in reality, he should step down now, if you're not willing to do that, I'm questioning your motives as to why you're making the statement that you're doing. And Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Central here on liberaldanradio.com, we're going to be talking about each individual one of those people, doing a deep dive on them and seeing what motivation could potentially be driving you here. And or is your comment even relevant? Are you coming from an area that's even relevant for Biden to be making a consideration based off of, what area you're representing? Is it worth him to listen to you if you're coming from a state that's never going to vote for him, for example? Or if you're coming from a place that's completely safe, so you're safe to say whatever it is you want to do to appease certain people, but yet, regardless, he's still going to win your state. So we're going to look at each one of these people, and we're going to do a deep dive and figure out why these people are really calling on Joe Biden to step down. Because, if they claim that he can't be smart enough or cognizant enough or whatever to do the job in the future based off of the now, then isn't he not good enough now? That's what's not clicking here. So y'all, and the responsibility is on you guys, the people who are demanding that Biden drop out of the race, but not demanding that he step down now. Onus is up to y'all to explain it to me as to why that's the right decision and why you're not being a hypocrite. Anyway, leave your comments down in the area below. Like the video, share, subscribe, and have a good day. So there's that. See, they are hypocrites. Exactly, Easy E. They just want Kamala Newsom as their candidate, but they would get Kamala Harris, or they would get Kamala Harris at least, if they would get her if he stepped down now. But they're not asking him to step down now. They're asking him to wait until the election and not run, and then have somebody just take your place. It's not passing the smell test with me. Especially when I saw some of the people whose name were on the list, I was like, that person's area is not one of the ones that Biden should care about, that Biden's going to have to worry about. Come on. They're silly. So I heard on David Feldman that Gretchen Whitmer was at Sun Valley, Idaho, instead of being in Michigan. For what? What's Sun Valley, Idaho? I don't know what's going on there. To Chad, in all fairness, the polls were showing months before the debate performance. The debate just caused the elite to finally see what the common folk... What, I don't know, am I not common? Because there are a lot of common folk who are talking about Biden, who are saying a whole bunch of stuff about Biden that have nothing to do with truth or validity. Just because common folk are saying it, it doesn't mean that the common folk are right. Oh, when Biden was in Michigan? Oh, okay. Interesting. So anyway. And polls are also showing that 67, 69% of people think Trump's too old. I mean, there are a lot of people who think both of them are too old. If both are too old, then too old is irrelevant. Or should be. And then it's the other issues that become more important. Like Project 2025. Because, again, these all things are all going to be used. Now, there are people who think that the whole Trump shooting was staged. I'm not there. But there are people who think it's staged. Or there are just people who are just like, Trump saw an opportunity and jumped on it to help him politically. Could it be both? Sure. I just don't necessarily believe that it was staged just because you had the one person who actually died. Not that I'm sure there are people who would be crazy enough to die for Trump, thinking they were doing the right thing, and probably even able to be manipulated into doing that. Not sure a father of two and with a wife, the guy that got shot and died at the rally, I'm not sure he would have been one to be like that, but you never know. He was at a Trump rally, so all bets are off on that one when it comes to what crazy they might be willing to do. So, anyway. I mean, well, Biden calling the mother to me was not staged. Well, sure. Well, Biden called Trump as well. And they had a conversation. If the roles were reversed, do you think that Donald Trump would be calling Biden? Hell no. That's the difference between the two. Of course, Trump doesn't care if anybody dies. Because, he let hundreds of thousands of extra people die during COVID. But do I necessarily think that he specifically caused, was in charge of orchestrating this big theater just to make himself look like what people are suggesting? He did go on WWE television and shave Vince McMahon's head. We do have that. We do have. I think I deleted the damn image from the thing. It was on a list of my things that I could pop up. Oh wait, is it there? Oh no, I thought maybe I missed it. Never mind, it's not there. Oh no, there it is, right there. We had this situation: Donald Trump shaving the head of Vince McMahon in the middle of a WWE ring. How would you not be embarrassed to have that as your president to begin with? I even enjoy watching wrestling, and I'm just like, it doesn't mean I want Stone Cold Steve Austin to be the president of the United States either. But Donald Trump being around Vince McMahon and involved in wrestling and understanding weird storylines and doing odd things to try and get popular, get a cheap pop. I said, I don't agree that it was a big conspiracy or that it was staged, but with all of the stuff that Trump has done and with all of the Trump, including his ties to wrestling and liking the theatrics of things and him liking to sugarcoat things as he admitted to Woodward, and him admitting to, wanting to reduce the numbers of the testing, I could believe that he would manipulate things. I could see in general why anybody would believe that he would want to manipulate something and therefore believe that he would manipulate this. It's like people who asked, who were like, when Trump did the travel ban to China, and then we called him racist for it, and the reason people were saying, well, if the virus is coming from China, why can't we, block the people from China coming? First of all, has nothing to do, with the fact that he's, with this particular thing. I don't know. He didn't say particular. He did call it the China virus, which is kind of bigoted. But, the virus is probably coming in from Europe anyway as well. And it was. There's no reason to do a flight ban from China if it's coming in from all over. It's counterintuitive. You're focusing on the wrong things at this point. But, if Trump says something that is it racist, is it not racist, we can look to his campaigning on a total and complete ban of Muslims entering the country. We can look at his comment on Mexicans being murderers and rapists that are coming over the border. We can look at his comments about how he wouldn't want black people doing his books. He wants the people in the yarmulkes to do his books because he's a bigot. He's prejudging people that black people couldn't do it. And obviously, Jewish people are good with money, right? Look at all of his past history of bigotry, and we can understand why anybody might think that his comment about just banning flight from China would also, why would you not think it was based in bigotry? Or why would somebody not be reasonable in thinking that this action was bigoted, especially looking at previous actions that were clearly bigoted? I guess kind of like the boy who cried wolf, except instead of the boy crying wolf, the boy was a racist, so it was the boy who cried N-word or something like that. I don't know. Easy E. I might vote for Stone Cold if he told a Republican, and that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. I am upset. Again, as I've said this before, I was upset at Barack Obama when all three of them, when Obama, Hillary, and McCain, were still in the race. McCain was already picked. It was between Obama and Hillary. And they all went on WWE and to go give a speech to the viewers of Raw that night or whatever. So everyone on USA, I suppose. And at the end of Barack Obama's speech, he did put in if you smell what Barack is cooking, which I give him credit for, but he should have sold it. He should have sold it like The Rock, and it would have been amazing. It's not a compliment though, because the idea that Jewish people are, quote, good with money is based on this idea of a lot of times Jews were forced into financial roles, and then we got blamed for whatever financial woes people were going through. Because, it must be us. That's the problem with using those, stereotypical things that you hear about people. Like, there are other stereotypes about other certain people, like certain races that might be more gifted in the bedroom, so to speak. But people might say, "Oh, well, this isn't a stereotype you like having," because people just assume, "Oh, you must be, like a tree," and some people might say yes, but other people be like, what? It's kind of, dehumanizing to stereotype people to a more primitive type, just base emotion of like lust and sexuality than the whole person that they are. And that's the problem. If you're embracing on to stereotypes, you're going to be, even if the stereotype seems like it might be one that you might like or one might be able to take advantage of, it's still reducing people to not being the whole person that they are. And that's the problem with it. So yeah, this did get weird fast. I know. I'm gonna bring it back in a second. See, I've never known a Jew who was terrible with money. I don't think I'm the greatest with money. I mean, I have credit card debt that I'm refinancing at the moment into a lower interest loan. I do have the financial issues that I'm dealing with as it pertains to my mother-in-law's house, but I don't know. I'm not a very good investor. I'm down probably overall with my investments. I don't think I've made some sound money decisions between the ages of 18 and 35 maybe, and that kind of has affected me from this point on. So I would kind of push back on the idea that you might have met one Jewish person that's not great with money. So yes, Josh, sterilizing is also dehumanizing. Yes, thank you. I appreciate your good thoughts, Easy E. Anyway, so this morning, of course, get up, then look at the news and be like, oh, look what happened now. Frickin' Eileen Cannon. We had a show before. It was Fire the Cannons, and we talked about all why Eileen Cannon should just go away, how Trump was a lucky MFer in that, you know, he got her twice. 1/3 chance to get her in the pre-trial phase, 1/3 chance to get her for the main trial. Got both. 1 in 9 chance that he could possibly get her for both, and he lucked out. Well, what happened? She was presented with an argument that was submitted by Trump's counsel with a motion to dismiss the prosecution because the special prosecutor was not accurately or constitutionally created or whatever, or named. So, and then of course, the news reports that why Eileen Cannon, you know, dismissed the case, and they talk about the legal theory behind that was promoted by, I guess, Trump's legal team and now Eileen Cannon. They talk about that, but they don't say anything else about it on the news. And then I hear MSNBC talking about it later. Nothing about it. I don't think only one person on MSNBC explained why. Rachel Maddow. And that was after I'd already made this realization, because if you've listened and watched Liberal Dan Radio, Talk from the Left That's Right, Mondays and Wednesdays here on liberaldanradio.com, if you watched the show and remember when we went over the immunity ruling by the Supreme Court, we went over the ruling and we went specifically to Justice Thomas and how Justice Thomas put his concurrence in there. Well, we talked about why was he concurring in this different way? Why did he just join the opinion? Well, he was using his concurrence, like he's done in other cases, to springboard his own ideas, his other legal theories as to why things shouldn't be the way that they are. And his issue in this case was not just that presidents have immunity, but also that the creation of these special counsels is unconstitutional according to him. And we went over his bogus legal theories, and we said at the time, I remember saying this, so maybe I was wrong when I said it at the time. I said that, you know, Justice Thomas likes to put these things in there because he likes to make little cases, make little arguments that he can cite later in further either dissents or concurrences that he writes. He'll just go back and cite himself, or even if he writes the majority opinion, he'll just go back and he'll cite himself because he likes building his little ladder to get to his main goal, I guess, of overturning all this other stuff by taking out, chopping off the legs of the people in government who are going to stop him from getting through his goal. I guess figuratively, not literally. Because again, we said it should be a drinking game every time Justice Thomas cites himself in a ruling. But again, if you listened or watched here on Liberal Dan Radio, are going over that, it out that no one else agreed with him. He couldn't even get the rest of the court to come along with him and be like, yes, this is the point that we should also be making with this case. No, it was just him by himself. 1 out of 9 justices. The other 8, none of the other 8 justices said Justice Thomas is right on this point. He was on an island with that particular point. But as soon as you heard why Eileen Cannon dismissed the charges because of the illegality of the special counsel, you'll then see why, and you would know exactly why she did that and what assurance. Using the language of Thomas's concurrence which is not legal precedent by any stretch of the imagination. But she's still using it in the ruling. We have it here. Here's right here. That lodging an appointment power in the president alone would pose much the same risk as lodging it exclusively in Congress. The risk of a cautious or corrupt nomination. Trump v. United States, Thomas concurring. Right here in the ruling. Written by Judge Aileen Cannon. Dismissing the case, dismissing the indictment. She cited something from the just very recent Supreme Court ruling. She cited that. Yet, it's not precedent. But now, that argument has to make its way all the way up through to the Supreme Court, I guess, to see whether or not that's a correct legal theory. But if that was correct in current legal precedent, you didn't need the last ruling to do that. So why didn't Judge Cannon dismiss the case back then and have it decided earlier that this illegality that of a Justice Thomas legal theory? Well, A, because Justice Thomas hadn't put it out there yet in a ruling for her to cite, but as soon as she got the ruling out there, she latched onto it and she used that as her excuse. And it's BS. It is absolute BS that you can use a part of the opinion that wasn't the actual overall ruling or the current, that's what I'm looking for again, legal precedent, sorry. It's not the current legal precedent, but you're still going to use it. Make it make sense. Well, it makes sense because this person is there specifically and doing her job as what he did by nominating all these new judges around the country or whatever. He got lucky and he got one of the ones that he appointed, so therefore that's a shield against him going to prison. So he got lucky because now you'll never hear this case before the election goes. And then if the election causes Donald Trump to be the winner, well, he got saved by his own appointments, which is just another step in the tyranny that we're dealing with. But it's ridiculous that it just boggles my mind that you would have a judge use a line from a concurrence that's not the actual overall legal precedent. But it shouldn't boggle anybody's mind, I guess, because we all know what Aileen Cannon's doing. Anyway, what do you think? Agree, disagree? Leave your comments below. Like and subscribe. Have a good day. Let's see, let's scroll back again. She's changed her last name to Dover. Dean Baker. She's betting on an appointment to SCOTUS. And you know, he could name another 2. Some people are saying 3. I think maybe 3 this time is a little far-fetched. I didn't think 3 last time in 2016 was far-fetched. But I don't know. I don't see who the 3 might be. So, unless they have plans, 2. That's all I'm going to say, I guess, on that. 11th Circuit will appoint a new judge in his law, wondering if Cannon wants nothing to do with this case. I don't know, maybe she doesn't, but I mean, what's going to happen? Because if she dismisses the case, and the appeals court says no, the case is not dismissed, you'd then have to put it back. You would then have to, you know what I mean? Like, then she would still be over the case. So you'd have to take the extra step of not just appealing it, which they've done. You'd have to also do the other thing that you need to do, which is to get her kicked off the judiciary for her clear bias in this case. Let's see. On an island owned by Howler Crow. Twitch is having problems, is it? Let me see. Yeah, it says unstable. It's just picking up on me, I guess. No, it should be streaming fine. I don't see any issues with the stream on Twitch. Yes, well, I'm getting there, Dean. Trump did bring all these things on himself because, you know, that's how he do. It's what he does. But then, of course, we get to the appointment of... Well, first, before we even get to the appointment of J.D. Vance as Trump's vice presidential pick, which, might I say, hey, TV2, which I might say, I personally think it was the wrong move on Trump's point. I mean, I think he had, because the media loves a story, and by you know, Trump was riding the wave of the whole, hey, I survived my shooting, I get to use the media to boost how people think about me or whatever, because I gave a thumbs up and said fight after getting hit by a shard of glass or whatever on the ear. I don't know. But going with J.D. Vance, I mean, first of all, can he pronounce his name correctly? I mean, the last time he's tried to talk about J.D. Vance, didn't he endorse him and call him his opponent's last name or something? Like, you know, if you can't pronounce your own candidate's name, your own vice presidential nominee's name, the person who's going to be your running mate, if you can't pronounce his name right, you're not going to have a leg to stand on when you start trying to say Sleepy Joe again. I mean, the Trump supporters won't care, but... What's the Ichabod here? Vance was chosen by Elon Musk at the suggestion of Peter Thiel. Thiel and Vance have business history together. Interesting. Is it too soon to say he's relabeled his plane Air Force One? Nice. I like it. VD pants. Nice. Well, that's what Trump is. Haha. But like everyone's like, oh, Donald Trump, he was saved by God. God outstretched his hand and saved Trump's life to make sure he didn't get shot. Well, why did Trump let the firemen die? Why did God let why did Trump too? I mean, who knows? If you believe the conspiracy theory, why did God let the firemen die and the other ones get injured? He only wanted to save Trump. That's not a very worship-worthy God who would only want to save the billionaire and not the people who are being manipulated by him. So if God could reach down and stop the bullet, why couldn't, from hitting Trump or whatever, why couldn't God have reached down and, you know, caused the gun to jam or backfire or another way break so that the projectile wouldn't be launched at anybody? I mean, wouldn't or maybe make it so that such a person doesn't get born in the first place? Who thinks you could do that? Trump, Vance, don't stand a chance. I saw something where it was like, they had Donald Trump and Mike Pence signs. Hey, Janelle, thank you for being a Danimal. So you had J.D. Vance and... Is it a Pence? But it's the same letters, except VA over PE. So they just put a V and the A over the P. So that's like the reason that Donald Trump picked this is because you could just make minor changes to your existing paraphernalia. You don't have to make anything new, which would be funny. Yes, Jeff, we have to save the rich people. Who will think about the rich people? Nobody will think about the rich people and their troubles. Boo-hoo. Boo-hoo. Just as a reminder, as we talk about all these other issues that are facing this week, that Project 2025 is a real thing and needs to be talked about. And I'm planning on having on any show that where we're not focusing on Project 2025, I think throughout the rest of the year, I'm going to just randomly throw into any conversation, just as a reminder, Project 2025 is harmful. And maybe we'll like make different points about Project 2025 each and every time. One thing to look out for, is how they write the document, because I downloaded the document on my phone just so I could have it and search it. So I've already seen that they had changed. They'll make changes to the document online, so that, like if you say, "Oh, the Project 2025 document says that you're going to do X, Y, Z on, and this is on page 112," so they'll rewrite the document or reorder the pages or the sections, or they'll edit more stuff to either add or subtract to make it so that what you're citing is no longer on that page. So then, it makes the people who were making the claims look like liars, because, it's not on this page now. One of the other things is somebody posted an image that was like they'll get rid of the FDIC, so your banks, your money won't be insured anymore, and your savings will be left in the hands of the people who manipulate the markets, and yada yada yada. So I'm like, okay, well let's go check for myself. Let's go read Project 2025, or at least open it up, and we'll search it for FDIC, just the four initials. Wasn't in there. I'm like, well, that's interesting. So I did a search for federal insurance. No, federal deposit. I'm sorry. Federal deposit is what I searched for, thinking that those two together would go. That came up with a hit, and that found the section. And I was able to say that, yes, indeed, by reading Project 2025, they want to like merge the credit union thing and the FDIC into one big thing, but also deregulate everything so that banks are run on market principles without any regulation, because they trust the invisible hand of the market, the same invisible hand that maybe that's what saved Donald Trump. It was the invisible hand of the market. Like, I have failed you so many times because you suck as a business person, but let me stop this bullet from hitting you. Invisible hand of the market. The BS. The conservatives loves to, as I say, they love to pleasure themselves to the invisible hand of the free market. Ah, Jesus. Who controls the Fed, Aldo? But anyway, again, this is just your reminder of what Project 2025 is. It's not just, it was created in part, very small part, but in part, they want to be able to reclassify the federal employees from civil service to class F or whatever, and then that would allow them to fire them at will, or whatever the class is. If there's class F, maybe it's because they're class F'd, or they're F'd once they become that classification, or maybe it's just, class F for fail you, whatever, or fire you. So, anyway. I got distracted by all Fed rules are created by the House of Representatives. Well, yeah, of course, but they don't understand that. But they want to stop everything from affecting private business, because profit is the perfect end motive that's going to cause everybody to act all nice and good. If profit was a motive to ensure good behavior on business people, and if that's what you believe, I have lots of bridges to sell all over the country, not just one in Brooklyn. All the bridges in the country. Nobody has the best bridges. Anyway, yeah. Why not? It's so ridiculous. Like, it was in God's hand. That's why Donald Trump was saved. No. And if it was, it's, again, nobody should be worshiping such a God. Anyway, Um, there's also something else. Like, there was a bunch of conservatives that are like, oh, the Democrats wanted this to happen. This is the Democrats' responsibility for, like, the shooting that goes on or whatever. You know, the Democrats cause violence. I'm like, no, it's you guys. It's you guys that are the people that stormed the Capitol. We didn't storm the Capitol. Yes, you did. Don't be ridiculous. And you know, you could probably, oh, this person over here wasn't storming the Capitol. Yeah, but the other 20 people over here who were bashing in police officers' heads and breaking windows. Oh, they were led into the building by the police after breaking windows and climbing through them. The conspiracy theories by these idiots are so ridiculous. But like for the people, for the conservatives who think that, you know, Democrats, especially like myself, wanted there to be an attempt at a political assassination or an actual assassination. No, we don't want that. We wanted to destroy Donald Trump at the ballot box, or see him go to jail for his crimes. We want to see him get utterly defeated. He's caused so much pain in other people's lives over the course of his careers that I wouldn't want that to be how he goes down. I want to watch him suffer. I want to watch him have to deal with another loss and watch another meltdown, have him throw more ketchup on the wall, invest in Heinz stock, I guess. If that's what you think might happen, his shares of Heinz might go up, or whatever brand he happens to throw. Or maybe he'll try and make his own brand ketchup by then so he can throw his own ketchup. I don't know. Anyway, we want Donald Trump to go down to the ballot box. We want the American people to rise up together and realize the threat that Donald Trump really is. We want them to realize what the threat of Project 2025 is, or however he decides to rebrand it. We want people to get their collective heads out of their asses. We need people who understand that they can drop their own issues, individual, and say, okay, maybe we shouldn't be voting in a narcissistic fascist felon who is already found liable for sexual abuse. Maybe that's not the best person to put in the Oval Office. Right? Yes. Thank you, Benny, for $5 for the Ricola. I appreciate it. So, let's see. Adlo. The Fed, was created by Congress, and the authority was given to it by Congress, and they still appoint people. They still confirm appointments to the Fed. Like, who gets to serve on the Fed? Don't we appoint everybody that goes on the Fed? So there you go. B.O. Dan? What? I don't think I smell. Oh, no, Dan. I'm sorry. I was trying to figure out what the typo was. Hey, Fancy, what's going on? But yeah, as you can hear, the throat, I think, is slowly going downhill. So, despite this being a light start, I think we're still going to make it a 1 hour show. And unfortunately, whatchamacallit? Unfortunately, there's no regular, normal outro because we don't have the Blog Talk Radio outro queued up. So it's just going to be the regular Nimbus that closes us off, which means that the Twitch feed will be ending very quickly because we don't want that to, get too many copyright issues from whatever it is that I guess this song is causing. But so anyway, just remember, thank you very much, first of all, to Janelle for being a liberal animal, and for Benny for giving me $5 for a Ricola. Thank you for that. Shouts out to y'all for the support of the show. I appreciate every one of you for supporting the show in your own way. As much as you share, comment, like, etc. on the and interact on the videos of the channel, we'll have better and better traction into the future. So, Um, until next week, because I'm gonna go find a lozenge somewhere. We'll be back. We'll be live on Twitch tomorrow on nerdydan.com, and then Wednesday we'll be back here, hopefully normal time, 8 p.m. Central. Liberal Dan Radio, talk from the left. That's right.